Life is full of challenges, and often our first instinct in a difficult situation is to react emotionally. However, sometimes the best way to solve a problem is by doing just the opposite of what feels natural. Instead of acting on impulse, taking a step back and choosing a different approach can lead to better outcomes. This idea may seem unusual at first, but history, psychology, and even our daily experiences show that choosing the opposite action can be the smartest move. Consider a common situation. Someone gets angry at us and starts shouting. Our natural reaction is to shout back and defend ourselves, but what happens when both people are shouting? The argument gets worse, and the problem remains unsolved. Now imagine responding with calmness instead. If one person remains composed, the other is more likely to calm down as well. By doing the opposite of what is expected, we can stop a conflict instead of making it worse. This principle applies to many areas of life. When we fail at something, our immediate reaction is to feel discouraged and think about giving up. But the best way to turn failure into success is by doing the opposite, trying again with more effort and learning from mistakes. History is filled with examples of people who faced failure but chose to persist instead of quitting. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb, but instead of stopping, he adjusted his approach until he succeeded. Had he given in to failure, the world might have remained in darkness for a much longer time. The same idea applies to fear. When we are afraid of something, our instinct is to run away or avoid the situation. But what if we do the opposite and face our fear instead? Public speaking is a great example. Many people fear speaking in front of a crowd, and their natural response is to avoid such situations. However, those who push themselves to practice and face their fear eventually become confident speakers. Fear only grows when we avoid it, but when we do the opposite and confront it, we gain strength and overcome our weaknesses. Even in daily life, opposite actions can bring surprising results. If someone is rude to us, responding with rudeness will only create negativity, but if we respond with kindness, the person might change their attitude. When we feel lazy, instead of resting more, if we force ourselves to take the first step toward our task, we often find energy and motivation. When we are stressed, instead of panicking, if we take a deep breath and slow down, we gain control over the situation. Psychologists have studied this concept as well. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, teaches people to change their reactions by doing the opposite of their negative thoughts and behaviors. For example, if someone with social anxiety avoids social situations, a therapist might encourage them to face small social challenges to reduce their fear. Over time, these opposite actions change their mindset and improve their life. Great leaders and successful people have used this strategy to solve problems. Mahatma Gandhi, for example, chose nonviolence when facing aggression. His peaceful approach led to India's independence, proving that doing the opposite of violence can achieve more than fighting back. In sports, a team that is losing might feel discouraged, but if they shift their mindset, become more aggressive, and change their strategy, they often turn the game around. In every challenge we face, there's a choice. We can follow our first instinct, or we can pause, think, and ask ourselves, what if I do the opposite? Many times, the opposite approach leads to surprising and positive results. By mastering this simple but powerful idea, we can improve our relationships, overcome fears, and solve problems more effectively. Anger is a powerful emotion that can quickly turn small disagreements into major conflicts. When someone is angry, our natural response is often to react with the same intensity, raising our voice or becoming defensive. However, this usually makes the situation worse rather than solving the problem. A better approach is to respond with kindness. When we choose kindness over anger, we not only prevent the situation from escalating, but also create a chance for understanding and resolution. One of the greatest benefits of responding with kindness is that it helps to calm the other person. When people are angry, they often expect an equally aggressive reaction. If they receive kindness instead, it surprises them and changes the tone of the conversation. A calm and gentle response can make the other person pause, reflect, and eventually soften their stance. It is difficult to continue being angry when the other person is treating you with patience and respect. This approach works in many areas of life, from family relationships to friendships and even professional settings. Imagine a situation where a family member is frustrated and starts arguing. If we respond with anger, the argument will only become more heated, leading to hurtful words and strained relationships. However, if we listen patiently and speak with kindness, we create an opportunity to resolve the issue peacefully. The same applies to friendships. If a friend is upset and we react negatively, the friendship might suffer. But if we show understanding, the friendship can grow stronger. Science also supports the idea that kindness diffuses anger. Studies in psychology show that when a person is angry, their brain is in a state of heightened emotion, making it difficult for them to think rationally. However, when they are met with kindness, their emotional state begins to change, allowing them to regain control over their thoughts. Acts of kindness trigger the release of positive hormones in the brain, such as oxytocin, which reduces stress and promotes feelings of trust and connection. There are many examples in history where responding with kindness changed the course of events. One of the most famous examples is Mahatma Gandhi, who believed in nonviolence and kindness even when faced with aggression. Instead of responding to British rule with hatred and violence, he used peaceful protest and respectful dialogue. This approach not only gained the support of millions, but also led to India's independence. Similarly, Martin Luther King Jr. followed a path of kindness and peace to fight for civil rights, proving that anger can be defeated with love and understanding. Even in small daily interactions, kindness can transform negative situations into positive ones. For example, if a shopkeeper is rude to us, our first instinct may be to respond with rudeness, but if we stay polite and respectful, the shopkeeper may change their attitude. In schools, if a student is bullied and they respond with aggression, the bullying may continue. But if they show kindness or ignore the insults, the bully may lose interest. One of the biggest challenges of responding with kindness is controlling our own emotions. When someone is angry at us, we might feel attacked or unfairly treated. In such moments, it is important to take a deep breath, stay calm, and remind ourselves that anger is temporary. Instead of focusing on winning an argument, we should focus on finding a peaceful solution. Kindness is not a sign of weakness. In fact, it requires great strength and self-control. Choosing kindness over anger does not mean allowing others to mistreat us. It simply means responding in a way that keeps the situation under control. If someone is being disrespectful, we can calmly set boundaries while still being polite. In extreme cases, walking away from the situation may be the best option. In the end, responding with kindness has the power to turn enemies into friends, transform conflicts into understanding, and bring peace into our lives. It may not always be easy, but it is always worth it. The next time someone is angry, instead of reacting with anger, try responding with kindness and see the difference it makes. Failure is something that everyone experiences at some point in life. It can be discouraging, frustrating, and even painful. However, failure is not the end of the road. It is simply a stepping stone to success. The way we react to failure determines whether we grow stronger or give up. Instead of quitting when faced with failure, we should use it as motivation to work harder and improve ourselves. Success is not about never failing. It is about learning from mistakes, making more effort, and pushing forward despite difficulties. One of the biggest reasons people quit after failing is the fear of trying again. They feel embarrassed or doubt their abilities. However, failure is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign that we are trying. Every great person who has achieved success has faced failure along the way. Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb, failed thousands of times before he finally succeeded. Instead of seeing his failures as defeats, he treated them as lessons. He once said, "I have not failed, I've just found 1,0,0,0,0 ways that won't work." His persistence is what led to his incredible success. Failure teaches us important lessons that success never can. When we fail, we learn what does not work, and this helps us refine our approach. It teaches us patience, resilience, and problem-solving skills. A student who fails a test might feel disappointed, but if they analyze their mistakes, study harder, and try again, they will improve. The failure becomes a lesson, guiding them towards success in the future. Another reason failure should lead to more effort instead of quitting is that success often takes time. Many people expect immediate results, but real achievements require patience and continuous effort. Athletes train for years before winning championships. Writers rewrite their books many times before publishing a bestseller. Scientists spend decades researching before making groundbreaking discoveries. If these people had quit after their first failure, the world would have missed out on their incredible contributions. One of the greatest examples of persistence after failure is J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter. Before she became one of the best-selling authors in the world, she faced multiple rejections from publishers. Many would have given up, but she kept trying. Eventually, her hard work paid off, and her books became a global phenomenon. Her story proves that failure is only a temporary setback if we keep going. Failure also builds character. It teaches us humility and perseverance. When we fail and rise again, we become stronger and more determined. Imagine a child learning to ride a bicycle. They will fall many times before they learn to balance. If they give up after falling once, they will never learn, but if they keep trying, eventually they will succeed. This principle applies to all aspects of life, whether it is academics, sports, careers, or personal goals. The key to overcoming failure is to change our mindset. Instead of seeing failure as a negative experience, we should see it as a challenge to improve. We should ask ourselves, what went wrong? What can I do better next time? By analyzing our mistakes and making necessary changes, we turn failure into a learning experience. It is also important to stay motivated during difficult times. Surrounding ourselves with positive influences, setting small goals, and reminding ourselves of our dreams can help us stay focused. We must remember that every successful person has faced setbacks. And the only difference between those who succeed and those who fail is persistence. Quitting after failure guarantees that we will never reach our potential, but trying again with more effort increases our chances of success. No matter how difficult the journey, the only real failure is giving up. The next time we face failure, we should remember that it is not the end, but an opportunity to grow, learn, and come back even stronger. Success is waiting for those who refuse to quit. Positive thinking is one of the most powerful tools for building confidence. The way we think about ourselves and our abilities directly affects how we feel and act. When we fill our minds with positive thoughts, we develop self-belief, take on challenges with courage, and achieve more than we ever thought possible. On the other hand, negative thinking leads to self-doubt and fear, making it harder to succeed. By choosing to think positively, we can boost our confidence and unlock our true potential. One of the biggest reasons positive thinking increases confidence is that it helps us focus on possibilities instead of limitations. When faced with a difficult task, a person with a negative mindset might think, "I can't do this," or "I will fail." These thoughts create fear and hesitation. However, a person who thinks positively will say, "I can do this if I try," or "I will learn from this challenge." This shift in mindset makes a huge difference. Instead of being paralyzed by fear, they take action, and with each step, their confidence grows. Positive thinking also helps us overcome self-doubt. Everyone experiences moments of uncertainty, but confident people do not let doubts control them. Instead of thinking, "I am not good enough," they tell themselves, "I'm improving every day." This kind of thinking rewires the brain to focus on strengths rather than weaknesses. Over time, as positive thoughts replace negative ones, self-doubt disappears and confidence takes its place. Another way positive thinking builds confidence is by helping us handle failure. Many people lose confidence after failing because they see failure as a sign of weakness. But those who think positively view failure as a learning experience. They remind themselves that failure is not the end, it is just a step toward success. They say, "This didn't work, but I can try again in a better way." This mindset keeps them motivated and strengthens their belief in themselves. Confidence grows when we take action, and positive thinking gives us the courage to step out of our comfort zones. People who constantly doubt themselves often avoid new challenges because they fear failure. But those who think positively take risks and try new things, knowing that even if they fail, they will learn something valuable. With each new experience, their confidence increases and they become more comfortable handling different situations. Science also supports the idea that positive thinking boosts confidence. Studies show that when people repeat positive affirmations like, "I am capable," or "I believe in myself," their brains start to accept these statements as truth. This is because the brain responds to repeated thoughts by strengthening the neural pathways associated with them. In other words, the more we think positively, the more naturally confident we become. One of the best ways to develop positive thinking is through self-talk. The way we talk to ourselves matters. If we constantly criticize ourselves, our confidence will suffer. But if we speak to ourselves with kindness and encouragement, we will feel more capable and strong. Instead of saying, I am bad at this, we should say, I am still learning and I am getting better. These small changes in self-talk can have a big impact on our confidence. Surrounding ourselves with positive influences is also important. Being around supportive friends and mentors who encourage us helps strengthen our belief in ourselves. On the other hand, negative people who constantly criticize or discourage us can weaken our confidence. Choosing to stay in a positive environment makes it easier to maintain a positive mindset. In the end, confidence is not something we are born with. It is something we develop through practice and mindset. Positive thinking is the key to building that confidence. By focusing on possibilities, overcoming self-doubt, handling failure wisely, and using positive self-talk, we can become more self-assured and successful in all areas of life. The more we believe in ourselves, the more we can achieve. Positive thinking truly has the power to transform our confidence and our future. Challenges are a natural part of life, and everyone faces difficult situations at some point. The way we respond to these challenges determines whether we overcome them or struggle with them for a long time. One of the best ways to handle challenges is by looking at them from different perspectives. Instead of feeling stuck or hopeless, we can change our approach, think creatively, and find solutions that may not have been obvious at first. A problem that seems impossible can often be solved simply by shifting the way we look at it. One reason different perspectives help in solving challenges is that they allow us to see more than one solution. When people face problems, they often focus on what is going wrong rather than searching for alternatives. For example, if a student struggles with a subject, they might think, I am not good at this. But looking at the situation differently, they could ask, what can I do to improve? By seeking new methods, such as getting extra help, changing study habits, or practicing more, they can turn a challenge into an opportunity to grow. Another way different perspectives help is by reducing stress and frustration. When we view a challenge as a failure or a dead end, we feel discouraged. However, if we see it as a lesson or a test of our strength, it becomes easier to handle. A person who loses a competition might feel like they are not talented enough, but if they change their perspective, they will realize that they gained valuable experience, learn new skills, and can perform better next time. This shift in thinking makes challenges less overwhelming and more manageable. History provides many examples of how looking at problems differently leads to success. Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb, failed thousands of times before succeeding. Instead of seeing these failures as defeats, he viewed them as lessons, saying, I have not failed. I've just found 1,0,0,0,0 ways that won't work. His ability to see failure from a positive perspective helped him achieve greatness. Similarly, great leaders and scientists throughout history have solved major problems by thinking outside the box and exploring new viewpoints. Challenges also require different perspectives because every person sees the world differently. What seems impossible to one person might be easy for another. This is why teamwork and discussions are so important. When facing a difficult situation, getting advice from others can provide fresh ideas and solutions that we might not have thought of alone. A student struggling with a math problem might find it easier when a friend explains it in a different way. A business facing losses might succeed after listening to different strategies from experts. By considering multiple viewpoints, we increase our chances of finding the best solution. Another example of how perspective matters is in daily life. Imagine being stuck in traffic. One person might see it as wasted time and get frustrated. Another might see it as a chance to listen to music, reflect on their day, or learn something new through an audiobook. The situation remains the same, but the experience changes based on perspective. This applies to many areas of life, whether it's dealing with failure, handling criticism, or facing unexpected problems. A positive and open mindset allows us to stay calm and make better decisions. One of the best ways to develop different perspectives is through learning and curiosity. Reading, traveling, talking to different people, and experiencing new things all help us see the world in new ways. When we expose ourselves to different ideas and cultures, we become better at solving problems because we have more knowledge and viewpoints to consider. In the end, challenges are not meant to stop us. They are meant to teach us. By changing our perspective, we can turn obstacles into opportunities, failures into lessons, and problems into solutions. Instead of seeing challenges as roadblocks, we should see them as chances to grow, learn, and become stronger. With the right mindset, no challenge is impossible. Life is full of challenges, and the way we respond to them shapes our future. Often we follow our instincts or habits when making decisions, but what if doing just the opposite could lead to better results? Sometimes the key to success, happiness, and personal growth lies in taking a different approach than what feels natural or expected. When faced with difficulties, stress, or failures, thinking and acting in the opposite way of our usual reactions can open new doors and bring positive changes to our lives. One of the most common areas where doing the opposite helps is dealing with negativity. When someone is rude or angry toward us, our first instinct is often to react the same way, getting angry, arguing, or showing frustration. However, responding with kindness instead of anger can completely change the situation. A calm and understanding response can soften the other person's emotions and turn a conflict into a peaceful conversation. Many times, people expect negativity in return, so when they receive kindness instead, it surprises them and leads to better relationships. Another example is failure. When people fail at something, their first thought might be to give up, thinking they are not good enough. But what if they did the opposite? Instead of quitting, they could take failure as a lesson and push forward with even more effort. Many successful people, like Thomas Edison and J.K. Rowling, faced rejection and failure multiple times, but instead of giving up, they kept trying. Their success came not because they avoided failure, but because they did the opposite of quitting. They persisted. Fear is another area where doing the opposite can lead to a better life. People often avoid things that scare them, whether it's public speaking, taking risks, or trying something new. But growth happens when we face our fears instead of running from them. Instead of avoiding challenges, stepping forward and embracing them can lead to great achievements. A person afraid of speaking in front of a crowd might discover confidence and new opportunities by doing just the opposite, practicing and speaking despite the fear. Stress and overthinking also control many people's lives. When faced with a difficult situation, people often overanalyze, worry, and try to control everything. But sometimes doing the opposite, letting go, relaxing, and trusting the process leads to better results. Overthinking can make problems seem bigger than they are, while a calm and patient approach helps find solutions more effectively. Even in daily habits, doing the opposite can bring positive changes. If someone is used to waking up late and feeling tired throughout the day, they could try the opposite, waking up early, exercising, and planning their day. If someone spends too much time on social media and feels unproductive, they could try reducing screen time and engaging in reading or learning new skills. Small changes in the opposite direction of bad habits can lead to a healthier and more successful life. Another powerful example is dealing with failure in relationships. When people argue, their instinct is often to prove they are right, but doing the opposite, listening more than speaking, can solve conflicts faster. Instead of defending themselves aggressively, they can try understanding the other person's perspective. This opposite approach can strengthen relationships and build deeper connections. Throughout history, people who have taken a different approach from the norm have achieved great success. Innovators, leaders, and thinkers often do the opposite of what is expected. Instead of following the crowd, they question old methods, think differently, and create new paths. This is how progress happens, by daring to take the opposite approach when necessary. In conclusion, life often presents us with moments where our usual reactions may not be the best. By doing just the opposite, choosing kindness over anger, persistence over giving up, courage over fear, and calmness over stress, we can unlock new opportunities and create a better life. Sometimes the best way forward is not the path we are used to, but the one we have never tried before.